Dr. Stein, I realize I haven't gotten that much into the green of the Green Party. Now, I've noticed that we haven't had as much snow, and my oil bill has been a lot lower. I mean, is this global warming really such a bad thing?
Well, yes, it's true. I mean, in some areas there may be some improvements in climate, but the total impact is pretty devastating. Consider it's now predicted that by 2030, about 100 million people are going to lose their lives in developing countries around the world. Now, even if you were so calloused as to say you don't care outside of this country, which I think would be a very inhuman thing to say, and I wouldn't expect you to say it, but there are some people out there who look at it that way. We pay a price for that. When there is political and social instability around the world, we pay a price for that. But we pay a price right now. In fact, the price of food is actually skyrocketing because we have protracted drought. 60% of the lower U.S. right now, the continental United States, is actually in an extended drought, which is driving food prices up substantially. At the same time, we have record forest fires going on right now. We've seen the highest temperatures ever in these last 12 months that have ever been on record. And all of this is taking place with less than 1 degree centigrade of temperature rise. Right now, we are on track to hit 6 degrees centigrade temperature rise in this century. So this is just a tiny taste of what's to come. And this includes, of course, the more severe storms and flooding and all that we're seeing really all over this country. So we're paying an enormous price. And just to look at the costs of damage to the cities and towns and families and homeowners that have been hit, this is really very serious business. It's not compatible with a sustainable economy when already almost 50 million Americans, 50 million Americans need help with the cost of food, and now we have food going up, the price of food going up because of drought. So this is not what a sustainable future looks like. Fortunately, it is solvable if we get to action right now. And so we're calling for a Green New Deal that would solve two crises at once. The crisis in our economy, because we are not getting out of this high entrenched unemployment. They're bringing some jobs back, but these are low-wage, insecure jobs. The president keeps pointing to General Motors like it's the model for recovery, but you probably know General Motors is great if you're a CEO, but if you're a worker, a new worker coming on, your wages are basically coming in at about half of what they used to pay. This does not make for a livable wage or a secure family life. This is the kinds of jobs that are coming back. This won't work. So we've got an economic emergency. At the same time, we have a climate emergency. The great thing is that we can solve them both in one fell swoop. So we're calling for a New Deal like what helped us out of the Great Depression in the 1930s. This is not just a hypothetical idea. It's not more of the same trickle-down economics, which is really a gush-up economics, a movement of wealth and resources into the hands of the very few. Instead, this is a program that actually works for people. And if I can just quickly add how incredibly unequal this economy is, because there's lies, damn lies, and statistics, as the saying goes. So I want to give some flesh and bones to what our economy means right now. If you had 100 people in the room and you had 100 loaves of bread, say bread represents wealth. Right now, 40 of those loaves of bread go to one person who's already well endowed to start with. One person out of that 100 gets 40 loaves of bread. And the 50 people in that room who have the least to eat to start with, so they're kind of scrawny and borderline sick, those 50 people have one loaf of bread. This is how incredibly extreme economic disparities have become. In this country, 23% of children are growing up in poverty. Among 35 developed nations, we are just barely above the bottom. We're just above Romania. So we can do better than this. We can solve this economic emergency that has given all the goods to those that got, and everybody else is, becoming farther and farther behind. We can fix that actually with a program to provide jobs for everyone. We're calling for the creation of 25 million jobs, 16 million directly created, and then the spin-off jobs from reviving economic activity would account for about half as many again. So getting up to 24, 25 million jobs. Jobs that are created in our communities. So the funding is provided at about the cost of the first stimulus package, some 600 or 700 billion. But the advantage is that it pays back, because one of the biggest things making the economy crash was that revenues fell through the floor. When Wall Street's waste, fraud, and abuse caused the economy to crash, revenues fell for the floor. That made debt skyrocket, and the economy's basically gone into gridlock. So it needs to be jump-started. This is a jump-start. The stimulus package of 2009 provided for a lot of tax breaks, but unfortunately tax breaks don't create jobs. So we're talking about direct job creation by the communities who get to decide, not Washington, but the communities decide what kind of jobs they need, and we prioritize jobs in the green economy, clean renewable energy, conservation, weatherizing our homes, businesses, and schools, providing for local sustainable agriculture, as well as public transportation, and clean manufacturing and all that. So during the Second World War, we declared emergency and we converted our car factories into bomber factories. Well, we have another emergency now. It's called a climate emergency and an economic emergency, and we can convert some of our bomber factories, in fact, into wind tower and solar factories, because those prices have come down. They are now competitive with fossil fuels, and we can further bring the price down by helping to jumpstart that piece of the economy, create the jobs that we need. At the same time, we end unemployment and jumpstart the green economy. The advantage of that green economy is that it can put a halt to climate change at the same time that it makes wars for oil obsolete.